Hello and welcome to a Talmud Israeli production. Today we'll review the highlights of this week's course of Daf Yomi study, Masechet Yevamot, pages 118 to 122, and Masechet Ketubot, pages 2 and 3. 118. Ha'isha she'alcha hi u'ba'ala le'medinat hayam u'b'nai mahem. What happens if a woman goes overseas with her husband and her son? Ubat ve'amra, and she comes back, but only she comes back, and she says, Met ba'ali, my husband died, v'achar kach met b'ni, and then my son died. We will believe her. Why will we believe her? Because what she is effectively saying is that she is not subject to Yibum, because when her husband died, there was still a child. Well, when she left the country, she also was not subject to Yibum because she had a child, or her husband had a child. And so, all is well in the world. What we anticipated happening is what comes to pass. But if she says, Met b'ni v'chachach met ba'ali, if she says, my son died and then my husband died, we're not going to believe her. Why will we not believe her? Because now all of a sudden she's saying that she is subject to Yibum, which would mean getting married to her brother-in-law, and that union would have been forbidden by severe penalty under Torah law, if not in the context of Yibum, which we were not anticipating because there was a child in the equation, and so we're not going to believe her say so to allow her to marry her former brother-in-law. However, she might really be telling the truth. We just don't know. So chosheshin ledvareha, we're concerned maybe it is the truth, and so she will therefore do a chalitza with her brother-in-law because she's claiming she needs it, but we will not allow a yibum because we don't really know if that's allowed. Then 119. Haisha shalach balav tzaratal b'dinat hayam. A woman whose husband and rival co-wife went to a faraway place. And then someone came and told her, Met ba'alech, your husband died. Lo tinaseh, she should not get remarried. Velo tityabeim, and she should not perform a yibum marriage. Ad sheteda shema muberet hitzarata, unless she knows for sure that her co-wife was not pregnant. Because if her co-wife was pregnant at the time and might give birth to a child, then this woman who didn't go away to overseas will not be subject to Yibum, but she can't know that for sure unless she verifies the pregnancy status of the rival wife. 120. Ein me'idin ela al partzuf panim im chotem. You're only allowed to testify that somebody died if you see the dead body and you see the face, inclusive of the facial features with the nose, that most of the face with the nose is visible and identifiable. And if you don't have facial recognition, then you cannot testify that somebody died, even if there are identifying markers on the body of the person, let's say on the torso, or in their clothing, their articles of clothing. Also, you can't testify that somebody died unless you actually saw that the soul departed from their body, meaning they really are dead. Even if you see the person is being hanged or being crucified or being devoured by an animal, all these things will likely kill the individual. However, so long as they're still alive, there's always the prospect that they will emerge with their life intact. And even though they'll be harmed terribly, they might not die. So unless you know they're dead because you saw them die, you can't testify. 121. Even if it's hearsay, even if you heard women saying, so-and-so, the husband of so-and-so died, that is enough. Despite the fact that the person who is relaying this information does not directly know about the death of the deceased, it's enough to have heard it from a chattering class. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, even if the person relaying the information only heard from children, that they went to the eulogy or the burial of so-and-so, that's enough, having heard it from children, to verify that somebody died. 122. There was a story that happened in Salmon regarding a man who said, Ani ploni ben ploni, I am so-and-so, the son of so-and-so. And I was bitten by a snake. Hareni met, and I'm dying. So the person is very much alive while they're saying that, because a dead person can't talk. However, they know that within minutes they're going to be dead. And they wanted to make a public pronouncement so somebody would hear it, so that somebody could relay this information to the person's soon-to-be widow that she should be allowed to remarry. So a little while later, they checked the body of this person who was bit by a snake, and they couldn't tell who it was because it had been disfigured at that point. But despite the fact that his body was at that point disfigured, nonetheless, on the basis of his say-so that I'm dying, they allowed his wife to remarry. Okay, now we go to Ketubot. Daf Bet. B'tulani set Yom Haravi'i. The virgin bride gets married on a Wednesday. Why? Because in case there is a concern about her virginity status, and the husband would like to report this to the authorities, the Batei Din, the courts of Judaism, are open on Mondays and Thursdays. So therefore, it's appropriate to get married on a day preceding a court day, namely Sunday or Wednesday. Why specifically Wednesday and not Sunday? So the Gemara explains, Shaktu Chachamim Takanat Berot Yisrael. The sages were diligent in helping out the daughters of Israel. Sheitarach Basuda, that they should be a 3-day preparatory period for the wedding feast. Yom Echad b'Shabbat, Sheni b'Shabbat, Shlishi b'Shabbat. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, they're working on getting the wedding feast ready. Uvaravit Konsa, and on Wednesday, that's when the wedding will occur. So the wedding had to take place on a day preceding a court appearance, or potential court appearance, but it also couldn't be Sunday because Shabbat will interfere with wedding feast preparations. So the ideal day then is Wednesday. Daf Gimel. Kol d'mekadesh adat d'Rabbanan mekadesh. Everyone who gets married does so on condition that the sages approve of the manner in which this kiddushin was transacted. And if the sages disapprove of the manner in which it was transacted, the rabbis can undo the kiddushin status, the married status. This is a very radical and bold move on the part of Chazal to take away a halachic status that is true under Torah law. And why would it ever be necessary? So a tremendous controversy exists in resolving the aguna crisis, that of the chained widow, the chained woman, who is stuck in a marriage which is not a marriage. The husband refuses to grant a get, or the husband has disappeared from the scene. What can we do to relieve this woman of her travails? One of the possible solutions is Afkinu Rabbanan Kiddush Minei, to remove by rabbinic fiat the kiddushin status so that no get is needed. However, this is a very bold halachic approach that not all the sages are willing to countenance. Everyone have a great week.